You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And hello, this is Mike Lodge. I'm glad you've joined me. Listen, it's Friday. Everybody, relax, chill out. Get ready for the weekend. This Saturday I have a wedding to perform down in Miami. Looking forward to it. I love getting people to say I do. Showing the love. Very good experience. I love it more than anything. The only thing I don't like is seeing the mom and the dad crying. I gotta tell you, I'm a sympathizer crier. But I do pretty good. But it's that day when two people join hands and look eye to eye and say all of the vows and all of the contractual requirements that are needed to make that marriage sound. Now, some people, let's admit it, they should never have gotten married. And there are people who have been, like my mom and dad, worked together for ages and ages until they finally passed away. So there are some people that should get married and other people that shouldn't get married. And it's the people that should not get married are the ones that we should worry about. So I wasn't going to, listen, I haven't done a podcast in over a week. And I thought, my gosh, I don't want to really do a podcast this week. But you know what? Two people pissed me off. LeBron and Biden. Those are the most two big idiots that I have ever seen in this world. LeBron James had to come out and quickly put down a police officer because the police officer shot a black girl as the police officer was trying to save the life of another black girl at the same time. And he came out with, I'm not even going to repeat what he said because it was so disgusting. And he's never said, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry. Because that's how racists are. They will never apologize for racist remarks that they have made or innuendos. Listen, there are racists of every single color out there. Red, white, and blue. There are a whole bunch of them out there. The problem is that you and I, we have no control over them. And it seems as though that once a person has status, especially media status, seems to have given them the license to say whatever they want, right? Look at Maxine Waters out there trying to spur the riots on. We got to fight in the streets. We got to do. She has been known for causing a ruckus, for saying things that should never have been said, saying racist things. If you really want to know what a racist is, you have to look at Maxine Waters. Because racism, or the words that she uses against all individuals, basically is racist, and it's filled with hate. And when you have words filled with hate, you got to step back and look at the individual and figure out, what is this person doing? Is this individual saying it all? I don't think Maxine Waters is very sane. She's been this way for ages and ages. And everyone's afraid to come up against her because she starts to yell the word racism. As I said before in earlier podcasts, the word racism is no longer about pure racism. It's about political racism. And that word is used as a political attack. It's a tool that people use to fight back against other people that they don't like or who they don't agree with. And as I've said before, listen, I will be the first one. I'm a mediator. I'll be the first one to sit down with a whole group of people and let's talk about racism. But we're going to do it in a dignified way. We're not going to get upset with each other. But listen, if any of you want to do that, I'm more than willing to sit down as a mediator and mediate it out. Listen, I believe in conversations about racism if there is true racism there. But if we're going to use that word as a political attack, like Biden does and like LeBron James does, if they continue to use it as a political attack, then it really means nothing. It means nothing. Now, the other issue I want to talk about is Biden. Biden loves to raise taxes. Now he's saying he wants to raise the capital gains tax way over 40%. He wants to raise corporate taxes. He wants to raise taxes on you and me. No matter what wage level we're at, he wants to raise taxes. So it looks as though the only economic plan that Biden has is taxation. Spend and tax, spend and tax. Puts together these big, huge bills that has a whole bunch of nonsense in there. He calls it infrastructure, but it really isn't infrastructure. I'm so glad that some of these senators and members of Congress are sitting down and saying, come on, let's just talk about infrastructure. So the Democrats and politicians in general begin to redefine what the meaning of infrastructure is. It's no longer about roads and bridges and electrical grids and everything else. It's not about that. Now it has to do with political issues. Climate change. And all this other stuff that's full of nonsense and has nothing to do with infrastructure. And they seem to be pushing this Green New Deal on every single bill that comes out of Congress lately. And we are in trouble if that goes through, because that's going to change our economic plans for this nation very quickly. Now, I don't know if you have noticed, but inflation is going up, which means that your gasoline prices have gone up. Groceries have gone up. Taxes are going up again. So pretty soon, when Biden begins to tax your capital gains tax, which is going to affect your 401k plans, when he goes to put in the capital gains tax on stock exchanges and everything else, what do you think that does? And when also the added issue of charging corporations higher tax rates. We all know what happens because we have seen it before. Don't sit there and be idiots because you know what happened before. When we start talking about Green New Deals and all this other stuff before, in the end of the George Bush era and also throughout the Obama era, what happened? They did not know what that administration was going to do, so they began leaving the country. Money began leaving, jobs began leaving, corporations began setting up their corporations abroad. In fact, by the way, none of those corporations have been shut down. They're still ongoing. They can still be used, and they will be used. We're seeing right now capital is moving overseas because everyone is concerned about what Biden is going to do. We don't know what he's going to do next to hurt the American economy. If you do not think higher taxes is going to hurt you, you're an idiot because it will. When those higher corporate tax rates come in, that means also that payroll taxes are going to go up. That means that the cost of the goods sold to you is going to go up because taxes have gone up. The price of the transportation of getting it down to wherever you may live for those goods and services are going to go up. Everything will go up because they've got to pass it on to the consumer. Do you think corporations and small businesses want to take on that all by themselves? No, you guys have to share in it. In fact, you pay the majority of it because the prices of those goods, prices of that banana goes up just so that they can cover the cost of that taxation, those higher taxes. So when I look at Biden and I see that he is so stupid when it comes to the economy, here our economy is robust, it's going strong. So he starts talking about those capital gains taxes. What happens? The stock market slides downward. because they're not happy when they start hearing about capital gains taxes, especially on Wall Street. And when they start talking about corporate tax rates going up, that means every stock that they're trying to sell is being hit on by Biden taxes. So why would people invest in U.S. companies if everything's going to be paid? I mean, everything's going to be covered by such higher taxes. In fact, why would anybody live here anymore? If you are working from home, you can work from home in Italy. You can work from home in the Cayman Islands. You can work from home from anywhere in the world where tax rates are more favorable to you. Why stay in the United States if your tax rates are going to go up, especially if you're a corporation? Listen, I remember when all this was happening way back when, and we began moving these companies over to China, and I participated in it. Why? Because we didn't know what was going on in the United States. We didn't know what we were going to hit with next. So we moved everything over into China. So what has happened now? Biden is talking about tax rate hikes, and China is talking about, especially with the semiconductor, okay, listen, we will lower your tax rates. So here we have a war beginning, not just physical war, but we are talking about a business war, an economic war, a tax war. Because I will guarantee you, when Biden gets those tax rates in, the capital gains taxes and the corporate tax rates high, there are going to be countries out there that say, listen, come on over. We love you. You only pay 12% taxes. Come on over. In fact, Ireland does it right now. Ireland has a very good tax rate. Monaco has a very good tax rate because it's at 0. We have all these countries out there that have very low tax rates where you can move your company to very quickly. And by the way, you can move yourself. If you're an individual, you can take advantage of those same tax rates that are out there. You just need to do some planning. So you have to understand that raising taxes is a big economic hit to you and to me, to everyone in the United States. And if you want to be hit with more taxes, I mean, can you imagine conducting business on Wall Street, trading stocks, or even when you pass away and you have to deal with death taxes and everything else, and all these capital gains taxes are going to hit you at that high 40%. And who gets anything left? What does the family get after that? Listen, we have had taxation without representation for quite a while now. And what really surprises me is that the American people really don't stand up and say, okay, enough is enough. Listen, I just got done with the pandemic. Now you're going to hit me with higher taxes. And you're going to tax me on pretty much everything. What kind of an individual as a president does that when he knows that the American people are hurting? They're still hurting. They're still trying to rebuild. So he says, I don't care. I want tax money. I made a deal with the devil, and the devil says tax him. Doesn't matter if I'm liked. The devil said tax him. So I'm going to tax him. I'm going to try and get as much money as I can so I can push together a political agenda that takes away a lot of our liberty freedoms. It's a sad situation, but that's where America stands at the moment. And the more and more we sit around doing nothing, the stronger the other side becomes. At some point in time, the American people are going to break and they're going to say, okay, enough is enough. We've gone way too far to the left, and now you're destroying what America is all about. America was designed to be this place where anybody could come here legally, go through the process, come and get educated, come and put their businesses together. and became very successful. You had people off the streets who had nothing, who started with something, just a little tiny bit of something, and they made it grow, and they grew it, and they grew it until now it's big time. But see, Biden doesn't want that to happen. AOC doesn't want that to happen. They don't want anybody to have that success. They don't want anybody to be rich. They don't want anybody to have money. They think everybody should be at the same level playing field. So if I make $25,000, so should you. You should make $25,000 too. If I'm paying $10 for a loaf, so should you. If I'm paying 90% in taxes, so should you. Because everybody needs to be at an evil, it is evil, at an evil level playing field. You see, the Democrats have decided that everybody should be at the same level, which is a socialist concept. In fact, it's a communist concept. But the problem is that then it becomes, it creates a level of eliteness where only certain individuals have all the power. They've got all the controls of the money. So I want you to understand where this country is headed to, and it's not a very nice place. I don't know if you've ever traveled in communist countries or third world countries. It's not a pretty sight. You learn a lot. I think that everybody who has the ability to travel to a third world country that is a socialist bound country, and you see what happens there. I have literally been sitting in a third world country where I had a company, where I owned a company, being under lockdown in my office until a coup was finished down the street. Because they did not like what was going on, so the army came in and tried to create a coup. So I have been through these situations. I've smelt it, I've tasted it, and I know exactly what socialism is and what communism is, because I have been and I've traveled and done business in those countries. So with the new Biden tax and spend economic plan, that's going to push all of these businesses and companies that did assembly and everything else, are going to push them over to overseas where they can get a better tax rate. Listen, there are countries out there that would love to see each and every single one of you move to their country because they know you're bringing money. You're bringing dollars. So you and I, we have got a lot of thinking to do over the next few weeks, and we have got to start making phone calls to all of these members of Congress and the Senate saying, hey, stop it because we're fed up with it. I'm trying to plan for my family, and I can't plan because I don't know what travesty that you're going to create under your tax scheme. I don't know what I'm going to be able to own and what I can and cannot own. So right now, with Biden in place, we are all in limbo because we don't know what's going to happen next. Do we spend more money or do we hold back because we don't know what's going to happen? And I've been telling you time and time again for the last few months, hold your money in your bank. Hold it there because you're going to need it. Biden is going to screw this thing so far up the yin-yang that it's going to take forever to come back out of it. Unless you get somebody in there that knows what they're doing. But right now, he is not making decisions based on what is right and good for America. He's making political decisions, ideology decisions, political agenda decisions. Everything is based upon politics, but nothing has to do between what is right and what is wrong. And the direction that he's going at the moment is wrong. I'm telling you, it is wrong. And we as Americans, we've got to start standing up and start speaking out and saying, we do not want higher taxes, we do not want the Green New Deal, and we do not want anything that is going to impede on my family's financial success. And Biden, that's exactly the direction that you're taking this country, and enough is enough. We cannot sit around and be house sitters. We've got to get back out there. Stop listening to Fauci and stop listening to all of these stupid people who do not know what they're talking about anymore. And start getting out there and start doing something. Because the longer that they have us pinned in and held in and trying to control us, the faster that they put through all of these agendas through the Congress that turn us into a socialist nation. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to hold you in. Remember, a lot of these individuals who are serving in Congress have never, not serving in Congress, but are serving in the president's administration have never operated a business in their life. They have been academics. There have been all these kinds of individuals who have thought towards the socialist agenda. So you have individuals in the White House at the moment who are pushing this socialist scheme. And the scheme is dirty, rotten tricks of trying to keep you pinned down because of COVID. We have got to open our eyes and open our ears and become aggressive. If Maxine Waters can come out within a mad rioting crowd and say, we have got to fight on, we've got to speak louder, we've got to do that, then that's us as Americans. Not as rioters, but as individuals who speak with our pocketbook, who speak with creating jobs, who speak with going to church. By the way, these churches are still closed down. The first thing, this is what happened back in Lenin. When Lenin was taken over, what did he do? He took control over the churches. So we are in a situation where we need to take back control of this U.S. government. We cannot be listening to these idiots called AOC and idiots called Biden and idiots called, there's a whole bunch of names that are out there right now who do not know what America was built on and what it's all about. And what its success it has been. And that's why all of these countries are looking in at us who have left socialism and made their own countries democratic. And here we are as idiots going towards the socialist left. Well, all the other countries, now look at China. China used to be a full communist, 100% Mao Zedong Red Book country. Now it controls the marketplace out there in the world. We are a great nation, and we are a great people. You and I are great people. Because we believe in this country. We believe in the direction that it needs to go. But we don't believe in a socialist way of life, where we have no ability to be creative, no ability to be a success, no ability to worship the way that we want to worship. We have come into a place now where Biden has taken the controls of the government and said, okay, we are going to be a dictatorial type government. And we are going to control the people as much as we possibly can. He's already threatening that if you don't have a shot, then you cannot participate in the 4th of July. Well, I'm telling the president right now, I am going to participate with the 4th of July. Because that represents our independence. When we fought for the democracy of this country from England, when they were trying to rule us without, remember the words, taxation without representation. They took our money, but we had nothing to say. And now we're at the very same point within our very own government where we have taxation without representation, and you and I have got to start fighting for our freedom. We have got to start fighting for our liberties and start fighting for our government and being able to have a voice back in government. But right now they've got a huge fence around that government so that you and I cannot get in. We can't talk to our Congress people, we can't talk to the government, we can't talk to the senators, we can't talk to anybody because of that big old stupid fence. These people are such hypocrites because what they have said, we don't believe in the fence down at the wall, but we believe in a fence around the nation's capital. Stupidity, stupidity, stupidity. And the American people don't do anything. They just sit there, twiddling their thumb, hoping that it will all be over. It's not over unless the American people say it's over and the American people start fighting for their rights. Now, when I say fight, I mean do it civilly. You're civil. You know your arguments. You know what you need to say. Don't spin what the Republicans and Democrats are saying. You think about this process of what you feel liberty is all about and what your freedoms are all about, and then you put it into your own words and you say, I do not want socialism, but I want liberalism. I don't want liberalism, I mean. My mind is going nuts over here. I see socialism and I see liberalism. I want a natural government, a democratic government, a democracy, a liberty-minded, focused country that fights for the rights of all of our liberties, and the Constitution is the foundation of that. That's up to us to fight for that. I want you to really remember back when the Minutemen were in the street and they were flowing through the streets and they were trying to take back their country from the British. You have got to remember that. Maybe you don't know that story, so I would suggest that you learn that story. I would suggest that you sit down and you understand why this country was formed. If you do not understand that, then you're a fool. If you don't want to understand it, if you do not want to understand it, you are a fool. And perhaps this isn't the country that you need to be in. Maybe you need to go to one of these countries that you feel socialism is so wonderful. Bernie Sanders probably needs to go. You see, socialism is not for the people. It never is for the people. Socialism is not for freedom, never is for freedom. Socialism is not for businesses to continue on. No, they do not believe in that. Socialism does not believe in that. Because, see, socialism believes that government controls all. And that's where the problem that I have, because I don't want any government controlling me. I don't want any government telling me what I should and should not do. I know the rules, I know the Constitution, I know what laws that should not be broken. I know all that. But don't force me in your new laws, the political laws, the political agendas. Don't force me into that, because I'll fight back. Don't tell me if I should or should not take a shot of any kind. That's up to me to make that decision on my own healthcare issues. So, my friends, this is the beginning of the weekend. This is my last political rant for this week. But I really want you to think about it. I really want you to pay attention to what's going on. Don't close your eyes. Don't think it's going to go away. Because on the other side, the individual who loves socialism and the individual who wants more control and more power is the one that we have to be scared of. It's Nancy Pelosi's. It's the Schumers. It's the AOCs. It's all these individuals who stand up there and shout and pout and beat on the drum about how everybody should be paying their fair share and how they should be making all the same money and all the nonsense of what socialism is all about. So this weekend, just go out and think about it just a little bit. Just take 5 minutes and just think about what I've said. I might not have said anything that you agree with, but I'm hoping there's something there that makes you start thinking. Makes you start thinking about the political tricks that are being played in Washington, D.C. About the political agenda of Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all these groups that are trying to do danger to the United States. Think about it. Pray about it. Listen, this is Mike Lodge. Listen, I am going now, because I'm probably put you to sleep, but I'm going. Planning for the weekend. I'm heading down to Miami to perform a wedding. And hopefully get some really good Cuban food. They have the best Cuban food there ever. I love empanadas. I love them more than anything. I could sit there and eat a whole box of them sometimes. I tell you, I have tasted some really good ones. Listen, if you like the content of my podcast, help me out by going to www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge. Again, I'll tell you that again. www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge. And if you want a question answered or a comment, just want to make a comment, send a text to 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. Everybody go out and have a great weekend. I will talk with you soon. I might be on tomorrow. I might not. But listen, I love all of you. So all of you go out. Enjoy the weekend. Bye-bye. This podcast is produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.